There he is. All right, Eric, what's up, man?
Yes. No panic. No panic whatsoever. That was the old, hey, Ottavino, we need you ready for Tatis and 3 hitters, buddy. Get up and get loose down there.
That was literally what that was right there, 100%.
Oh man. Dude, I don't even want to say what's on my mind right now because I should be wearing the hat that you sent me, but I love the beanie, dude. I love the beanie.
Oh,
I
it's
need
all
to log
good.
on to the website and buy some merch because you got some badass merch.
We're gonna do a new drop on my birthday on the 22nd. But
Okay.
right now everything got sold out. We only put a little bit on there, but people liked it, so it's cool. Really cool that they supported.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'll tell that story real quick, man. I feel like I'm stealing your show before you get started.
Oh,
But
you're great.
so I'm out here new to the Northeast, obviously. So I'm doing some random hits at MLB Network, which is pretty fun, by the way, man. I really enjoy it. So I go on MLB Now with Brian Kenny, who's way different than I thought he was as a player watching him in the clubhouse all the time. And I got to see your hit with him every Friday. So he gets done, he comes back to the desk, and I'm like, damn, that was a badass hat, dude. Baseball and coffee. And BK's like, yeah, man, I was thinking the same exact thing. I should hit him up and get some of those. And I'm like, all right, sweet. So he told me he texted you saying, hey, man, everybody wants those hats. And then you got it to me the next day, which was awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're close enough to me. I won't say exactly where you live, but you're close enough to me, and we go up that way sometimes to go to this fruit stand, this like vegetable place. And so
Mhm.
we were like, "Hey, I'm on the way anyway. Might as well drop it off." So I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to do that.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. We'll have to get some breakfast, our family, your family, and then maybe you can well, I'll snag a couple of beanies from you.
Oh, that's perfect. I love it. I love it. Well,
Yes.
so I know you came back from school drop off. How's life with the three kids? We just went from 2 to 3 a couple years ago. I felt like that was a big difference.
Buddy, 2 to 3 is no joke, man. Oh my god. And all 3 are under 3 years old, man.
I
So
know.
Case and I wasted no time. The first week back from the hospital after our daughter Odette, the third child, was born, from like 7 o'clock in the morning to that first nap at noon was just absolute chaos in our house, dude.
Yeah, that's a grind right there.
Yeah, it is. We're getting used to it though, man. We're getting used to it. I feel like we're getting our routine down, so
Yeah.
we're surviving.
I can't imagine the 3 under 3. Like my oldest is 10, my second is 7, and then we have a 2-year-old. So we had like a big gap there. And it's kind
Mhm.
of weird because I'm like parenting in two different worlds. Like I have like a 10-year-old. She has like a dance tonight and she cares how she looks and stuff. And then I have my 2-year-old who just wants trucks and to break stuff. So it's a little
Drugs.
interesting. Yeah.
It's wild. Right now, the 1-year-old is the hardest because that's like she's just moving, walking around. You got to follow her. She can't really talk. And then the 3-year-old Jack, he's chilling, he's doing himself, and the baby's pretty much just sleeping all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's get this rolling. I have some topics here. First one, I wanted to get your, basically it's a little bit about your career, but how it kind of leads me to discussion about things that are going on in somewhat current events. Like
Mhm.
basically, we kind of our careers, because we were basically pros for about the same amount of time. I was drafted '06, you were drafted '08. We existed kind of in the old world and in the new world, right?
Yep.
And the first place that I think about that is honestly very from the beginning, the draft, right? You're a high school first baseman drafted third overall in the '08 draft. Like, I can't think of too many other high school first basemen that are picked that high. I mean, Prince Fielder, I guess, comes to mind. There's a few out there, like a Lars Anderson was a guy I remember back in the day.
Yeah. '08
Um,
draft.
but
Couldn't read it before.
what was your draft process like leading up to that day a little bit? If you could bring me through that a little bit, and like, what were some of the things, some of the feedback that you were getting early on?
So my draft process was kind of crazy, man. So I had on my sophomore year of high school, I was on a summer team called the Florida Bombers, and we were like, if you were in South Florida and you were a player, like that was the team that you were playing on in the summer. They're going to Connie Mack, they're going to all those showcases and doing everything. So we were up in Georgia at the East Cobb showcase, and we had a doubleheader at Kell High School, which was like right across the street from the complex. And I'm a sophomore on this team, man, and I'm doing good. I'm having some good at bats. I'm hitting with wood now, going the opposite field. And one of the days after on the bus, our coach comes up to me, Kentrell Davis, and this other kid. He's an outfielder. I think his name was DJ Jones from Alabama. And he goes, "Hey, basically, there's scouts here from Scott Boris, the agent, and they want to meet with you after the game tomorrow." So I'm like, sick. So we meet with them. They come, they do a meeting at our house, and then we agreed for them to be our advisors until senior year of high school. Get drafted third overall. We take it all the way down to that August 15th deadline. And literally, one of Scott's guys there are at my house, and midnight happens. And basically, we had our number, and the Royals were going back and forth, and we weren't budging until we got to that 6 mark, and we were at like 5.5, which is crazy. And the draft process, you don't really say numbers, you just say like names. So Matt Wieters signed for 6 million out of Georgia Tech a couple years before.
Yep.
Scott just kept saying, Wieters, we're getting Wieters money. I'll call you back when we get Wieters. So it was literally like 12:15, dude. And I'm there after the deadline and I haven't heard from him and we hadn't gotten Wieters yet. And I'm like, dude, I think I'm going to school right now. This is wild. 12:45, I get a call. We end up signing or agreeing to sign for the 6th. And then I get drafted 3rd overall in Kansas City.
Where were you at mentally at that time? Were you prepared to go to ASU, or were you more hoping to get the job done, get the deal done, and play?
Oh man, dude. So that's just the beginning of it. I was just wanting to play, man. Like I just wasn't into school. I was just into baseball, man. Like I'm sitting in class thinking about, man, I should be working out. I should be hitting. I should be doing this. So I just wanted to go to pro ball and make it all baseball. So
Yeah.
we finally get to do that. I sign. I'm like, thank God, man. I thought I was actually going to go to school, but I signed. I get to rookie ball, Idaho Falls. I'm 3 games in, and that was the year. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you do, but there was a whole grievance with Pedro Alvarez and his contract with Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So I get pulled off the field because my deal ended up happening after Pedro's, according to the fax machine and MLB headquarters in New York. So then I get pulled off the field and Pedro gets another week to negotiate. And I just got to sit around and wait and hope that his deal goes through because there's a chance that my deal falls if his falls.
Oh my God, because like technically the deadline was like too close and the fax machine timing and all that. Wow.
Yeah. So basically, what Scott did was just negotiate another like couple day period to negotiate Pedro's contract. So long story short, I'm in Newport Beach just training at Scott's facility for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden, Pedro signs, I'm signing, or I'm allowed to sign, but the season's over. So I go straight to Instructs. And then a whole nother story, which is crazy. But like 2 weeks later, all my money was in, I don't know if it was like Merrill Lynch or whatever, when the big freeze happened in '08.
Oh
So
yeah.
then I get my money and it's like, hey, the money's frozen. You can't spend any of your money. So I'm like, dude, what is happening right now? The world is just not meant for me to have money.
Oh my God, that's insane. That's insane.
Wild.
That's different. I mean, like I was a first rounder '06. I was the 30th pick, so I snuck right in there. I think I'm the last first rounder to sign for under a million. And
Mm,
I just remember the process back then in terms of how you're evaluated. It's just so different now. I mean, now you have a lot of these measurables, right? They're looking at your sprint speed and your exit velocity and probably a lot of your bat tracking analytics and stuff like that that they have now. But back
mhm,
then, it was much more baseball-y. It was much more, contact ability, like the standard scouting scale, power, contact, speed, fielding, things like that. And now it's like every team seems to have a draft model. Your age matters a lot, but also value per position. So it's
mhm.
like nowadays, only guys you really see out of the high school in the top is shortstops because they
Yep.
feel like shortstops they can move off to other positions and things like that. It's just pretty rare to be a first base prospect. I know you also pitched a little bit, and did you play a little outfield? I'm assuming too.
I did in summer ball, played a little outfield, try to show a little athleticism, you know what I mean? But you're right, man. When you're taking a first baseman, you're basically counting on this guy just to be a hitter, all-star hitter, and that's really hard to project from high school all the way to the big leagues.
And then like you get into pro ball and the player development process couldn't be any more different than it is now. I mean, back
Mhm,
then, I don't know what it was like for you necessarily, but I was hit with a lot of, well, you just got to get the innings. You just got to get as many pitches in as you can,
mhm,
complete every level, and kind of learn by doing, learn by succeeding, learn by failing, all that sort of stuff. There wasn't like as many benchmarks to hit. They weren't worried about wasting your physical prime. It was more so like, if you're not really, really knocking the door down to the big leagues, we're going to make you go step by step. Now, I know you moved pretty fast, but was that sort of your experience too? They're like, hey, we drafted you, we like you, go play, or were they immediately trying to throw a whole bunch of changes onto you?
Yeah, it was basically go play. They're like, listen, we're not even going to really evaluate you until you get, 500, 600 bats under your belt. We want to see you go out there and just basically, you're going to end up coming to us trying to make the adjustments and figure out how do I do this. And that's kind of what they wanted. But it's so different, man. You're right. Because Kansas City coming up, I promise you, Adam, we didn't have any analytics whatsoever. And I'm a guy that, like, I think bits and pieces of it can help you a lot. I think you take whatever you take from it and you add that into your routine or whatever kind of information you want. But we didn't have any of that in Kansas City. And like you were saying with the draft process, Scott told me, he's like, listen, don't talk to any scouts. He's like, I want you to be a closed book, make them pay to find out the information about Eric Hosmer or what Eric Hosmer is as a person, baseball player, and all that. You go to a showcase now and you throw on the mound, they got your extension, they got your RPMs, they got your spin rate, like they got everything now. So you're right, it's just such a different process.
Yeah, totally. It's just so I don't know. It's like back then there was a lot more like suggestive type coaching. Like people would be like, "Hey, why don't you try this and see how you like it?" And now they're like, "Oh, like for example, the guy Murakami who's coming over from Japan right now. Now he's a little more of a finished product than we were out of the draft, obviously. But like we know about his swing and miss versus 93 plus mile an hour pitches. We know about his exit velocity. We know about his defensive record. Like all those things are being used. All those tools are being used, and they're putting those into algorithms to try to decide what his projections are going forward in MLB, where I feel like back then they were just strictly looking at physical tools, which is sort of the same thing as looking at exit velocity in a way. It's like if you have power, if you have, then that's going to show up in that. If you have speed, it's going to show up in sprint speed. They were just measuring it more now, and it feels like all that gets put into a formula. Whereas before it was much more eye test, and it was much more, all right, let's just sink or swim. Like let's go out there
Yeah,
and sink or swim, basically. And I just
I
think it's
agree.
interesting now. Yeah.
It is, and I think with hitting is so far behind pitching, man. And I know it's catching up a little bit, but like, or maybe people thought it was early on with torpedo bats, and then that kind of faded away. But I just feel like with pitching, so like take Roki Sasaki, and then the I forgot the guy's name you just mentioned coming over, the shortstop that can hit. So like Roki Sasaki, you can just look at his stuff and the metrics on his stuff, and I feel like as a pitcher, like if you're spinning the ball at 3,300, whatever it is, and you're throwing 96, 97 miles an hour, like there's so much conviction that if you get this ball to the top of the zone, it is so hard for this guy to hit. And then you do your homework and you see this guy's not hitting heaters. So like it just gives the pitcher so much conviction to the point where I had some teammates come back and they're like, this guy's not supposed to hit this pitch. I threw it, where exactly where I wanted it. How did he hit it? Why did he hit it? And it's like, dude, it's the major leagues. That's going to happen. But that's where pitching, in my opinion, is just so far advanced or ahead of hitting.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, the velocity is the first thing that really trended up throughout our careers. That's like the first major change that happened, and then people starting to use the top of the zone. Like, if you're a pitcher, you're able to initiate the action. So we have the first say. Like, we get to give you what we want to give you until we
Mm-hmm.
until we fall ourselves into a hole, and then we have to give you what you want to get. But for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, like we get to dictate, and I feel like that is sort of the ultimate quiz that never ends for a hitter. It's not just velocity, as we see it's gone up over time. Jeez, my alerts are so loud. It's not just velocity that goes up over time, but it's also the amount of pitches. Like that's been one of the biggest changes in the last few years. And I have a board here for that. Pitching arsenals are getting bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So now, not only is it can you cover low fastballs, sink with sink, can you cover four seamers at the top? It's also guys are going east, west, fast, slow, and everything in between. And so if you're a hitter coming up in today's world, I mean, I guess you use a lot of the analytics for personal player development. Like, how do I develop multiple swings? How do I get comfortable covering different pitches? But in the real time, in the moment when you're striding to the plate, there's no way you want to have this many thoughts in your head. So, how do you simplify those things? What would you say to
Oh
that?
man, yeah. Well, that's the biggest thing now that tough is these guys, their ability to throw the three different fastballs. I mean, you can throw a four seam, a two seam, and a cutter all with legit movement. Like that just makes life so much harder. As a hitter, if I can eliminate a third of the plate, or, like for me, I had some success off of Kershaw because Kershaw really didn't really have anything going into the lefty. What made him good against the righties was that back foot slider he discovered, but like he didn't have that back foot to the lefty. And for me, that was devastating. Anything coming into me is where I did not have, much success. So I think that's where hitting has gotten so hard that we see the velocity jump up. There's different fastballs. And let me like explain, obviously, but like a 98 mile an hour fastball with less spin, or maybe a guy with less extension that doesn't have the extension is going to be different than the guy with extension than 95. So with extension with 95 mile an hour fastball. I feel like now pitchers have identified how good their stuff is and what type of guy they are. And then now they've also identified the hitters and their flaws. So, for instance, or for example, coming up, I felt like pitchers just tried to sequence me in the minor leagues in my first couple of years, like go boom, fastball, curveball. or fastball, curveball, fastball. Now, when I got to the NL West, I noticed like towards the back end of my career, I faced the Dodgers and I just got 9 straight cutters. So like no sequencing, we're just going to go right to your holes, and until you prove that you can not or do you can execute these holes, we're just not even going to mess with anything else. Because you know how it is, Adam. There's sometimes where that guy, I can't hit a cutter or anything hard in, and all of a sudden the guy hangs me a changeup or a slider. He did me a favor. Like towards the end of my career, I felt like I wasn't getting those favors anymore.
Yeah, that was the first layer of the evolution. It was like now that we can measure the stuff, pitchers aren't spending their whole careers throwing the wrong type of heater or whatever. Like I know early in my career I was throwing a lot of four seamers. I'm a much more of a sinker type of pitcher given my arm slot and stuff like that. I mean, I eventually learned how to bring my four seam back in, but I think back in the day, a lot of pitchers went a long time not really maximizing who they were as a player because they didn't have the information. Once that information came, it was easy to kind of figure out, okay, these are my most effective pitches. How do I
Mhm.
pair this versus a certain hitter? And then I'm going to spam those pitches. And that's what we saw probably from like, I don't know, 2017 through probably 2021-ish at least. And
Yep.
then I thought from there, as hitters started getting better at anticipating things because they started understanding what the metrics meant themselves. Like, oh, I can look at a sheet and I can say, oh, Ottavino's slider has 18 inches of horizontal, and you know what that means. So then you can
Mhm.
start to anticipate better. That's when the pitchers were like, oh, okay, maybe I can't just spam this over and over and over again. That was, to me, that was a second revolution that's sort of been ongoing now, is now it's more cat and mouse again because you can now cover even my outlier pitches because you've had no choice but to learn how to. And now it's a matter of, well, okay, if we can cover up and in fastball, well, let's go use effective velocity. And now can you cover low and away something soft? And then now we're back and playing baseball again. So it's all kind of coming full circle, but in a scary fashion because all the pitchers have insane movement and velocity to go with it.
Yeah, that's what the information allows. The information basically allows the hitter and the pitcher to know what you have to execute to be successful. So, like, that's the cool thing now with hitting. They have these foam balls, and you can go in the machine and crank the machine up to 110, 115 miles an hour, and the balls are soft, so you're not going to crush your hands or whatever. So, if you're in the bullpen and I'm getting ready, I can just go crank the machine up to whatever your metrics are with the slider. And that's how I can try to simulate an at bat before that first time facing you. So instead of having to go see, 1 or 2 at bats off of you, that kind of gives me a little sneak peek preview of kind of what your stuff is looking like.
Have you ever used the Traject machine?
Yeah, the traject. The Cubs had it my last year. We had it in spring, and then in Wrigley, it's pretty legit.
Was it still the hard balls at the time or was it the soft balls yet?
No, it's still the hard balls, but I think what helps you a lot is like you can kind of get your timing down. So now you're mixing the stuff, the spin, and then you're able to time like your release point or your motion or something like that.
Yeah, when it first came to the Mets, that was the first team I was on that had it. I guess it was 2022, the first time I saw it. Most of the guys at that time, because they were still only using the hard balls, now they actually have a softer ball that can still mimic all the same shapes. So it's, to your point, you can practice more without feeling the pain, which I think
Mhm.
is a much better option for a hit. Nobody wants to get blown up an hour before the game.
No, dude.
Uh, but guys were using it for timing. Guys were using it to just make sure that they saw the shape the way that they thought they saw it. Like if you're facing a Corbin Burns cutter or whatever, let's go look at 10 of those so I have a better
Mhm.
idea of where I got to get my barrel to and stuff like that. But we,
Yeah.
we have a quick question in the chat, though. What pitcher did Eric hate to face the most in his career?
Oh man. Um, Man, I know early days, Matt Thornton, he was a lefty reliever with the White Sox.
He threw
He was
cheese.
just, oh man, that was really like the first time I saw a lefty with velocity. You know what I mean? Like lefties, it was kind of the soft tossing lefties that would thumb. And then I got to the big leagues my first year, faced him in Chicago, and I was like, dude, I do not. I tried to go foot down, I tried to go no stride, and I wasn't even close to hitting this guy.
You're just trying to put it in play at that point.
Exactly, dude. I was from 0-0. I was in there just battling for contact.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that experience on the other side where I'm like, I can't get anything by this guy, so I'm just gonna try to get it over with on the first pitch. Go ahead and hit it. I'll save my pitches and we'll see what happens.
Did you
Uh,
have did you have a guy like that you just couldn't get out and he was the
uh,
one guy?
well, there was a couple, but Brandon Belt owned me bad.
Really?
Like at one point, he was like 7 for 7. And I realized that I was trying to throw him down and away, and like I should try to pitch him up more. But like by the time I tried to make the adjustment, I wasn't executing it. So I was like walking him or getting into a bad count, that sort of thing. So
Well, he's really disciplined, man. He's a guy I feel like he's looking in like a keyhole. And if he's not seeing the ball there, he's not swinging.
yeah, totally. All right, so staying on this hitting topic for a second. So we saw in the World Series this year, we saw the Blue Jays as the representative of the AL team lead the playoffs, lead the postseason in runs. They had by far
Mhm.
the best offense. Obviously, they did not end up getting the job done. They lost in Game 7, which I'll talk to you about in a minute as well. But we did see a little bit more of a two-pronged approach from their lineup. Like they had some power. They weren't quite the 2015 Royals team that was mostly contact that a lot of people were comparing them to. They were
Mhm.
similar to you guys in that they put the ball in play, but they
Yep.
also had probably a few more guys with some thump to it. So I feel like that is sort of a different approach than what we've seen from a lot of teams lately that have been more thinking, oh, the postseason is all about hitting home runs. I feel like the two pronged approach took them pretty dang far. And I'm wondering if you think we'll see more teams copycat that style.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I mean, Yamamoto was, I mean, he was damn near perfect for the 3 outings, the 2 starts that he came in the World Series. So, I mean, they got Snell, they got everybody else except Yamamoto, and Snell was doing pretty well too. But the biggest thing that I noticed with Toronto is exactly what you said, their type of offense. But to go along with that, in the hitters meetings, I've always wanted to say we want a 9 versus 1 approach. Like I want Adam to feel that all 9 hitters have the same exact approach. Not like, okay, I got past Haas and he's looking up and away. Like now I can get by this guy. Boom, boom, boom. He's done. Like I want that 9 versus 1 approach. And not only that at the plate, but they were so in sync as far as like they're not swinging, they're letting guys run. If John Lester's on the mound, that was our big thing in 14. It's pretty much like, hey, if we get to first base, we are letting these guys steal. It's almost like you take a strike until you get there. And then you go to the next game, say the guy's 1-1 to home plate, and we can't steal. It's like, hey, from pitch one, I don't care if Gerard Dyson or Lorenzo Cain's on first base, be ready to hit that fastball. They're not going to want to bounce something. So I think Toronto really had that 9 versus 1 approach. But I think now, to your point, when these executives go and look to build teams and offenses, they're going to have way more balance to the lineup, kind of like Toronto had.
I think it even harkens back to player development a little bit. Like if you're only grooving one type of swing, like you're only grooving, let's basically hit pull side fly balls. Then I think that leaves a lot of other potential skills on the table. For me
Mhm.
personally, I personally believe that players are a lot more capable than maybe some people realize of doing having multifaceted approaches. Like whether it's being a pitcher and you can have power and finesse in your game, or whether it's being a hitter and you can have power and contact in your game. I think it's one of those things where maybe we got away from it a little bit because people are trying to optimize so much basically to have the answers for the test. We know that they pay for power, pull side fly
Mhm.
ball generates more power, we'll sacrifice a little bit in one area that doesn't get paid as well. But I think ultimately being a complete player is what's kind of what the game is starting to really demand of everybody in every position. If they're going to
It really is.
yeah, that's how I see it. Like defense is more important than ever. Base running is more important than ever. Versatility, all those types of things.
So true,
So
man. Like as a player and a team, you have to have that adaptability. You have to have so you as a pitcher, you have to be able to locate your slider to this guy because that's his holes or that's where you can get him. And then the next guy that comes up, you got to be able to locate that fastball up. As a team, it's like, hey, we got to identify, okay, this is a game where we're going to run the bases, we're going to play some small ball, or this is a game where we see this guy well, let's not give away outs on the bases and let's try and slug our way. So like you just have to have that ability to adapt as a player now, like you're saying, and as a team.
even as a pitcher, like if you look at the World Series, the pitchers that the Blue Jays had success against, right? Snell, Glass now, a little bit even Otani.
Mhm.
Those guys are good at controlling contact, but it's not their main style. Their main style is just flamethrower everybody and strike everybody out. Yamamoto, on the other hand, he has strikeouts in his game, but he came up in Japan and he faced a ton of contact oriented teams. And I thought that prepared him better to be able to toggle between two different styles depending on what type of offense he was facing. And I thought that was kind of the level up that ended
Mhm.
up tipping the scale in a way in the World Series. He was just so impressive.
Dude, I would love to pick your brain on that because I'm watching Yamamoto and like the sequencing, the stuff, the tunneling, like everything that he was doing, I'm taking these at bats with these guys, and like he's going the fifth, the sixth, the seventh at bat, and like he'll go the first two going north south, and then he'll go east west, and then he'll go kind of like upright, lower, away corner, and then like the sequencing and the tunneling that he was executing and pulling off. That was some of the most impressive pitching that I've watched. I would love to hear your opinion on just how nasty he was in that postseason.
Yeah, actually, I have a few videos on my channel if you want to check them out of watching all the
Really?
pitches that he threw. I mean, he's next level. I mean, at the end of the day, he had the answers to the test. He always had
Yeah.
something for every adjustment the offense was going to make against him, and even little things like fielding. Like he fielded a bunt from IKF in the 11th inning that most pitchers are not even getting to. So it's like
Oh.
being a complete player really was the difference in this situation in my mind.
Oh man. And like so for the people like especially the chat, so like north south, that is heavy velocity at the top of the zone and he's throwing that at 98. So as a hitter, you have to make contact the furthest part out front. So like your contact point needs to be out front, you need to get on top of it. So you basically need to catch up and try and get your fastest quickest swing off. And then the south is that slow curveball. So that's a pitch that you need to get as deep as possible in the zone. And then you see that once or twice, and you're like, okay, I think I can make my adjustment. And then he goes east west with that little splitter or that two seam away, and then the cutter, the slider in, like the sequencing. That's the type of stuff that is just disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, every level of speed, every level of location, every level of tunnel. Like he understood all the sequencing. I mean, it was really, it was next level shit. Honestly,
It really was.
I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back at that World Series, two more topics on the World Series. Number one, you were a member of a team that lost by 190-foot margin in the 2014 World Series, and then you
Too
had to.
soon, Adam. Don't bring it up.
That's still too soon. But hey, but the good news is you guys rallied and were able to win the entire thing the next year. What's the mindset that it takes to achieve that? Because I left this World Series feeling like, man, I don't know if they're ever going to be back in that spot, and that's the most heartbreaking thing about it.
Yeah, it's so draining, man. And I remember after that game 7 loss that we had, we felt like we were, and this is like, I know Caleb Joseph, the catcher, he was getting destroyed on the media side because he was saying that the better team didn't win. I always felt like we were the better team, obviously facing San Francisco, but the performance that Bumgarner had that postseason was just unbelievable. And the biggest thing I realized with San Francisco's team was like not one guy, they had Buster Posey, obviously, who was their superstar, but like not one guy hit over 300 in that World Series. They just got timely hits. They moved the guys over. They were scrappy. So like we literally as a team after we lost wanted spring training to start like that next week. Like we're like we don't even want an off season. Just give us a day off and we're ready to roll. And I'll never forget, man. Like everyone always says, like, "Oh, this team, we've never seen it. They're so determined." Alcides Escobar, you can just bank that he would be about a week to 2 weeks late to spring training every single year.
Yeah.
He would just like blame something with a passport and not whatever. He was there a month early, and we're like, "Oh man, like maybe everyone is locked in and ready to go." And man, from April on, like we were just rolling. Like I don't think we lost 3 games in a row until September. I truly like looking back on it now, have no idea how we did it because to go all the way to October, you're pitching, the bullpen, we used them like crazy. We stayed healthy for 15 and we were able to do the same exact formula. And looking back on it now, man, it's like I have no idea how we had it or how we did it. The mindset was it just kind of felt like a continuation from 14 and let's just finish this.
Yeah, you guys didn't have too much turnover really between the rosters either, right? So it was most of the same guys.
Yeah, we got a couple starters. Like we got Volquez the next year, and then we got Cueto at the deadline, and then Zobrist was a huge pickup for us.
All right, so I definitely think the Jays and their fans will be using you guys as inspiration and as hope that they can
Yeah.
get claw back there this year because I mean
Mhm.
they lost by even less than the 90 feet. They lost by what, like half a foot?
Yeah, and they had some times to close it out, and like they missed out. Think about this, man. Like Pete Alonso was apparently got offered more money to go there. Like he got like a 4-year deal, turned it down from Toronto, and I know a lot of guys turned down deals from Toronto. So a lot of guys are going to want to end up signing there now, which that was not the case at this point last
Yeah,
year.
that's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing a lot of chatter about people wanting to go to Toronto. So
Mhm.
obviously the boys have been talking about their experience, and that stuff travels throughout the league, no doubt.
Yeah, man. And then Bieber signed back for that less money. So like that tells you a lot. I don't know if there's something more to that story, but that's a huge deal.
All right, I'm going to play the play where you made the mad dash to home
Oh boy.
because this reminds me a little bit of the IKF play in kind of a reverse way. I mean, this was a situation where you kind of tried to make something happen here,
Right.
and you forced them to make the play. Now, was there a scouting a little bit on Duda's arm there, or was this just a complete instinct? I'm just going for it type of scenario.
Yeah, just a little a little bit of both. Definitely with Duda and his arm, and then same thing with David. You know, he was a little hurt. We know he had something going on. So that was kind of our game plan, man. They have all these studs on the mound. So let's just try and put the ball in play and then make them make plays and put pressure on them that way. And I always tell the story. There was the day before, there was a pickoff to first, and Jershly, our third base coach, who's awesome, man. He's a legend. He was like the minor league coach that came up with us. Great relationship with him. But like I kind of do like they pick over to first. It's first and third. I'm on third, and the first baseman Duda drops it, and I kind of like flinch, like I'm gonna run to home just to mess with Church and turn around. And he was like, "Hey man, like you can actually put the pressure on these guys. So if that happens, don't be afraid to do it." So that might have stuck in the mind. Here's IKF.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on this? Obviously, I mean, they told him to stay close. So that's part of the reason why he was so close to the bag.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give you
So
my initial breakdown before I hear you, because your expertise is much more important than mine. My thought was, I thought that his timing of his secondary lead was just a hair slow, and that ultimately
mhm.
cost him about a half a foot. But they had him pinned to third, which I can't blame IKF for. I think that's more of a scouting mistake, because I want to go ahead and look at Varsho's spray chart in a second. After this, I'm pretty sure he's almost 0% ground ball to third base. But I'll look at
Yeah.
that in a second, and I'll hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so the big thing that I saw first of all is the secondary lead. You're every other base, right? You're taught to hop, like you hop, hop, hop.
Yeah.
Third base is something new now where a lot of teams want to continue that hop instead of kind of turning your body, walking towards home. So the difference here between the hop, which is what IKF did,
Yeah.
and then the turn your body and walk towards home is when we were in Kansas City, you almost want to, as your front foot as a pitcher lands when you're going to throw the ball, I want to time my foot the same amount of time as your release point. So that front foot, and then you're releasing the ball. So I want my right foot or left foot, whichever your plant foot is, I'm trying to time that as soon as you're releasing the ball because I want to time if I'm going on contact, boom, I take off. If it's not, nope, I can plant and get back. So I think exactly what you said. IKF was doing the hop, and I
Yeah.
don't think he had much momentum going that way. So I
Yeah.
think Buckley made his decision late.
Yeah, that's my only beef. Like, if you look at the replay here from the top, like, he lands now. The ball's already in play. So to me,
Mhm.
he just cost himself a half a foot. That's my only technique issue with it. Obviously, the coaching staff is going to set your leads, and I thought maybe they played it a little conservative. I don't know. There's something about base running to me that is an instinctual art. I mean,
Yeah,
granted, there are like rules of thumb at every base: freeze on a line drive, don't watch out for the ground ball back to the pitcher, pick up your coaches, etc. But would you agree that base running is in a large part instinctual?
absolutely. And just like you said that you felt it was a little conservative, and I agree with you 100%. Because if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, that's your report, your scouting report heading into the series. If we're going to beat the Dodgers, we got to press the envelope a little bit. We got to be aggressive. And again, like to go real quick, if you can go back to that, look at Max Muncy from that bird's eye view. Like Max Muncy, you should be getting a lead, like third base coach. I'm your eyes. I'm looking at the third baseman. If you hear me at all, just sprint back and dive to the base. If Will Smith and Max Muncy have the cojones to pull off a back pick when game 7 of the World Series in that situation, that's fine. But I think
Yeah, they're
the
not going to
initial
do that.
lead, no, there's no way.
No.
So, like your initial lead for IKF, I need you to get off a little more to the point where make Max Muncy hold me on like a first baseman.
Yeah, force him to get off the line a little bit, and then take away his ability to cover the field a little bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I know it's like you're giving the lead is however much third baseman's giving you, you're giving him. But this guy's got to turn his head, run to the bag, turn his head again, catch the ball. Like, you can get more on that secondary lead. And again, man, you're pacing the Dodgers. Be aggressive, put the pressure on them, man. Like, that's the way. I mean, it's so easy to say now, and I
Yeah.
hate it for IKF because it becomes like a subject, and people that don't really know the game much try to break it down, and it's like it's not fair for him to do that. But it was the same thing with us in 14 about whether or not Jersley should have sent home Alex Gordon
On the inside
when
the park potential chance there, yeah.
exactly. And it's like, man, like I hate that this is even discussion, but
I
it
think
is.
I think Crawford hoses him there, personally.
Big time, dude.
Anyway, I mean, like, this is something that would have had to been scouted ahead of time, like where Varsho's balls go. Like, if you see on the
Mhm.
spray chart here, there's really nothing straight down the line. I mean, there's one hit that's over here. Let me see what this even is. Let's see, just out of curiosity. Yeah, I guess that's what you're worried about, but that's pretty far off the line. He's a pull guy. I don't know. I feel bad for IKF. I'm not faulting him at all. For the most part, I mean, you're talking about a fundamental with a secondary lead. It's a very small margin. If he would have
Right.
been given a little more leeway on his lead from the coaching staff, he's probably there. So I don't know. I was just curious on your perspective on it because you had your similar mad dash to the plate, obviously, that in 2015. So
Yeah, I just think the style of the secondary lead, man. I think the walking lead allows you, it gives you time as a base runner to be like, okay, I'm taking off or I'm going back, to where the hop secondary doesn't really give you that time.
yeah. All right. Well, good. That's a good. It's a good breakdown. I'm very happy to get your opinion on that. That's something that's just. I just keep thinking about it, man. I couldn't. I couldn't. If I was on that team, I would have. I would have a hard time not thinking about it. You know.
Oh, man. I mean, and then so there, I think I either saw it on a show or heard it. There was like it's the golden pitch or whatever, where like each team has a chance to win the World Series on that pitch. And it happened like 6 or 7 times that game 7, which is devastating.
Yeah.
But like, how about the homer to Miggy Rowe, right? Like the slider, is that the pitch to him if you execute it low and away, or is it like, don't even mess with that? That was a bad mistake.
Well, to your point with doing the batter a favor, that's what happened in that situation. He actually hooked a slider earlier in the game in a similar location, pull side for a hit. We didn't know how he was actually hurting before that game and almost didn't play. We didn't know that. The Blue Jays didn't know that.
Wow.
But he didn't have the ability to really catch up to a good fastball that game. So
Mhm.
sometimes as a pitcher, you just go about your business normal, but you don't realize that you're doing the batter a favor. I've been in that situation a few times where I've given up a hit to a guy and I've said, "How'd you hit that?" Afterwards, if I knew him, and he would say, I literally eliminated your other pitches because I knew I wasn't hitting them. And so
Wow.
you did me a favor by throwing me that. And I think that's a little bit what happened in that spot.
I feel like that right there is such a moment like of development in the big leagues, is like, okay, like at what point as a pitcher do you, like, you always trust your stuff, but at what point do you then have to like now convert to pitching to the report, right? Like if I'm out of Montevino and I trust in my slider, no one can hit it. Say this guy's hitting 600 off the slider, but he's hitting, a buck something off your third pitch. Do you still have the confidence, or is it ego to continue to throw that slider? Or do you go and execute that third best pitch because that's where his hole is? You know what I mean? Like that's the balance.
I never really liked to give the hitter any credit until they showed me that they could hit me. So, like at the beginning, I would usually just go status quo with everybody and
Mhm.
just try to read the at bats, like, and almost take the scouting out of it, pitch to strengths. And then over time, you realize what they can do, and then you have to pitch a little more carefully.
Mhm.
But I don't know. That's everybody goes about that a little bit differently, and I think, oftentimes if I go status quo for long enough, I'll get clipped one time before I realize I need a switch. So it's nice if you have a radar where you have to like move ahead of that strategy a little bit earlier, but
Mhm.
not always. So all right. So moving on. First time I ever faced you was actually in Omaha. I
Really?
pitched against this squad that had Lo Kane, you, Mustakis, Clint Robinson, Giavotella, Paulo
What a
Orlando, and I
dude, what
pitched
a
against you
squad.
guys April 22nd, 2011 in Omaha.
Wow, dude. It was probably freezing that night in Omaha.
Yeah, the matchup was me versus Mike Montgomery.
Oh, Monty. Dude, Monty was a huge prospect in the minor leagues. He ended up having a good career in the big leagues, but yeah, he was nasty.
Yeah, he was gross. And I just remember actually because you guys had a lot of hype at that time as like the farm system up and coming, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
between you guys, the obvious guys, you and Moose, but also Lo Kane, Escobar had just gotten up there a little bit prior, I believe.
Yep.
Some of the pitchers, Giordano Ventura, etc.
Mhm.
Um, what was it like feeling a little bit of the anticipation of you getting to the big leagues? Like, did you feel that? Was that palpable? Obviously, I know there was a big crowd the day you debuted, but was that palpable, you think, on the whole journey of you getting called up?
Yeah, man. It was sweet, man. It was awesome. And I think something for me mentally that took a lot of pressure off me was, it was always known that the group of minor league guys, those guys you just rattled off, those were the guys that were going to kind of come up to get Kansas City back in the postseason. It had been since like 1985. So it wasn't like, all right, Eric Hosmer or Mike Moustakas is going to come up and that's going to be our savior and he's going to be our guy and all that stuff. So I just felt like I was kind of the first arrival of that pack. And I think that really took a lot of pressure off me. There was guys that are already up, like Alcides Escobar was up, Alo Kane was up that year before. They came from the Milwaukee trade. We would see those guys in instructional league and then like the winter development stuff. So I knew a couple of those guys before getting called up. And I think the biggest thing was just kind of what I said before. Like mentally, I didn't put the pressure on myself thinking it was supposed to be me to save it. I think it was like I was just the first guy of this group that's going to come up and save this team.
I think it's just really cool because like a lot of teams are in that world where they're looking for like kind of a critical mass of prospects to kind of graduate to the big leagues at the right time, and then they can go layer in some veteran signings, and then you kind of are cooking with gas all of a sudden. They're not really a big market where they're going to constantly be replenishing the big league team all the time, so they have to kind of come through in waves.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a big deal. Like you got to hit on those guys. You got to make sure that those prospects that you have coming up are the right ones. Otherwise, it's going to fall
Yeah.
flat on its face, and you're going to be repeating the cycle for another 4 or 5 years with no luck.
Dude, no doubt. I think that's the biggest. I think that's the hardest, not the hardest. I think that's the biggest separation when it comes to GMs, good and bad GMs. I think there's a prospect status that these players have to, I would say, that first or second year in the big leagues to where that prospect status kind of fades away. And you have a window within those year, 2 years, whatever that is, to either, okay, this is our guy, or we need to like identify maybe he's not our guy, maybe mentally it doesn't fit our system or doesn't fit what we think, and let's get something back as quick as we can or whatever we can get back. Like I look at Atlanta and like that one deal with Grisham and they got Sale back. Like deals like that, like I think that's where you have to identify this guy's getting a lot of hype. He's a top 10, top 50 prospect, whatever it is. Like let's go ahead and identify and cash in and get our return back as soon as we can.
Yeah, timing is big for these franchises, no doubt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, moving forward, we are now headed towards one of my favorite events in all of baseball, which is the WBC.
Ooh, I love it.
You were a part of the United States team that actually got the job done and won. This is your big moment in the WBC. After Jonesy tied it,
Mm.
you go 2-run home run right here in San Diego to give the boys the lead over Venezuela.
Oh yeah, that was a hit and run right there. Old Jimmy Leland put on the hit and run.
Hit and run right here.
How about it, huh?
Well, you were ready for that fastball, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I was trying to hit a ground ball to short. I sure was.
Hey, that's where a good approach, sometimes happy accidents come out of a good approach, right?
That's it, man. That's it. Yeah, that was Jimmy Leland was our manager, dude. Old school guy. This dude was smoking heaters with his cleats on in the dugout. He was a legend, man. But that was such a cool deal. The WBC is awesome, dude.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about your experience for a minute? I'm so fired up. I played in the last one. We lost to Japan in the final, obviously, but I'm excited already for this new one. I mean, last night we had PCA and Corbin Carroll commit to the team at the MLB Awards. So the outfield is set. It looks like starting outfield. Still a few more positions to fill out, plus the pitching
Oh, yeah.
staff. But I'm excited, man. I think this event's only getting better and better and better.
Oh, dude, it's great. It's awesome, man. And I can tell you this because I know you were on the team the years after, but our group the year before those 3 years, we were bitter, man. We are like, dude, we should be able to defend our title, man. What the hell's going on here? All the like you got all the superstars want to play now, so now they get to go do this thing. But in all seriousness, man, it's so fun. Obviously, the pitching is the hardest thing, but this team, man, like they can, I mean, if they have Scooble, Crochet, Skeens as their top three guys, how cool would that be, man, to just watch that? But that's got to be the hardest thing, dude, because if I'm the team president for any of those three teams of the pitchers I just mentioned, I don't know if I want my guys pitching in that. You know what I mean? So how hard of a decision is that?
It's tough, and I've had GMs tell me like a literal quote from a GM one time when I inquired about the WBC was, "I fucking hate the WBC." That was that was a quote. But I think it to me it's a tentpole event now for baseball, and I think it's one of those ones that can't be ignored anymore. I love that Skeens is doing it. You're absolutely right. The pitching is really the key. If the U.S. can get their top guys in there, they can show down with anybody. But we've
Mhm.
always had sort of that second tier level of starting pitchers on the squad. I mean, it's still you guys still won it. I mean, Stroman was huge. I think right. That was the big dog that year for you guys.
Sherman was great, man. They're all on pitch limits, and the championship game, I think he had like 85 pitches through 7 innings against Puerto Rico. He was no hitting them, and Angel Pagan had a double down the line, kind of like what we were looking up with Varsho, like down the third baseline, just a wasn't supposed to happen double. and that was it, man. But he was on fire. Stroman was he was dotting, and it was fun too, man, because he made it a point to like tell Jimmy Leland he wanted the ball against Dominican. He wanted the ball in the big games, and that was pretty cool to see on a different side because you know how those guys are, man. I used to face Stroman in Toronto, and we faced him in the playoffs and in some big games, and we were chirping him in the dugout. And it's kind of like, dude, I do not like this guy on the baseball field. And then I got to share the locker room with him and watch from the other side. And I was like, dude, I love this guy on the baseball field.
It's actually funny here because I have a man. If I can log it up, this is crazy. There's a in your career. Was able to pull up some funny stuff. There's a ball here somewhere. I gotta find it. It's like the hardest hit ball of your career that was an out. And
Shocker.
it's off of Stroman. It's a line drive to center at 106 that he gives you such a side eye. It
Yes.
is
That
so funny.
day game in San Diego. Like, how the hell does that ball knock it out?
Yeah, maybe it's this one. Yeah, here it is. This is so funny to watch. When I was researching this earlier.
So
You,
I'm like,
y
yep,
y
I got him. I think
yeah.
he felt that same way.
Oh yeah. Watch the side eye right here. Here it comes. Look at that.
Oh man, that's just like game within the game type stuff. He's trying to get it in. He leaves it over the plate. We see the exit velo. We see the launch. Everyone knows what's supposed to happen. It didn't happen. And it's like, that's how things are going for me. I'm pretty sure I was like hitting 150 that week or month, and I just needed it.
And that's the modern game too. When I watch guys on video now, it's like guys fly out and you see their heads look at the scoreboard trying to see what the exit velo and everything was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd be doing the same thing on the mound. I'd be saying, "Man, 106 and that didn't get out. I'll take it." You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're trying to validate because as a hitter, I'm like, man, I got that good. So then you look up at the board, you see 106, and you're like, yeah, I did get it good. Like, how come it didn't go out? But dude, you know what? It got me thinking with the WBC, the moment for the USA team, man, I'll never forget this because it always feels like Puerto Rico, Dominican, Venezuela, it always feels like those guys take the WBC a little more serious than the American teams do. And I'll never forget, man. And we were playing that year, and we were playing against Puerto Rico, and Ian Kinsler said something in the media. I forget what he said. It was basically like they have a different style of baseball than we do, right? Like I think their big thing, they shaved or they dyed their hair blonde that year. So like
Oh
Correa would
yeah.
steal a base. Yeah, like Correa would steal a base and like take his helmet off and rub his head to the helmet or rub his head to the dugout. And that was their thing. Like they were just animated. And Kinsler was just basically saying it's a different style than the USA team. So they went and Puerto Rico, like they were not happy about Kinsler saying it. And they were kind of popping off in the media saying a bunch of things. And I'll never forget, dude, that kind of rallied us as a USA team to where like, Kins, dude, like we got your back, bro. Like, let's go out there and like, let's fucking do this. You know what I mean? Like, we got your back, whatever. And Kins led the game off with a homer. And I'll never forget, man, that like sparked everybody up so much to the point where it's like, this isn't just a ramp up anymore. Like we're doing what we can to win this thing, you know?
Yeah, I remember watching Nolan dive into first base and thinking to myself, like, that's not March behavior, you know.
Dude, on a strikeout, right?
Yeah, yeah,
On a
yeah,
drop third strikeout. You're right, man.
yeah.
Nolan, what that guy, we flew from Miami to San Diego, and Miami, he did not have the at bats I guess he wanted to have. And we got down from San Diego, touchdown. This guy got an Uber back to LA,
To go hit.
woke up to hit in his cage, and then came back. And I'm like, dude, this guy, but I guess that's why he's one of the best in the game,
Yeah,
man.
that's Nolan. I thought you were going to say he was doing dry swings on the plane the whole way over because that would have made
He
a lot of
was another
sense.
one too. We're going to Dodger Stadium, and he's like, dude, I need ash bats. I don't have any ash bats. Ash bats versus maple. Like ash travels way better in Dodger Stadium. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I need some ash bats. And I'm like, dude, you're next level, man. I can't believe this stuff. Like it's incredible to watch him work and go about his business, man. It really
Yeah,
is.
no, he's maniacal, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It is.
Makes him him though. Do you
No
think
doubt.
we got a question in my Discord from yesterday from the handle is not Duke Snyder, and the question is 28 Olympics. If MLB players can play, will all the boys take it as seriously as the WBC?
Man, that's another like if the boys can play, I think they will absolutely yes. But that's another one. It's like Major League Baseball and ownership. Are they going to allow these guys to go out and play? And to me, it's going to be Otani. Like everyone's going to watch Otani and see what he does and follow suit. If Otani ends up playing for Japan, then it's going to be like, all right, everybody else should be able to play. And I think then everybody else will play. So I'm kind of interested and curious to see what he does.
I hope that they can take advantage of that, because I know like you got to insure the players, and it'd be during the like basically All-Star break time, and there's a lot of different variables there. But I think, man, the international baseball is just so
Mhm.
exciting, and the more of that we can get with the best players, the better in my mind.
Yeah, and then look at the hockey with the Four Nations this past year. I mean, that just crushed it for hockey.
Yeah.
And then I think kind of like how we just said with WBC, all the big time players are into it now. So I feel like it's just the timing is ideal.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, man, I hope that it works out. I mean, I mean, now that I'm on the fan side of it, and I don't have to think as much about how I feel every day or how guys feel and what it means for my team. I don't know. I just think
Right.
as an entertainment product, it'd be great to have the Olympics be the real deal with the real guys.
Would love to see it.
All right. Shifting gears for a second. Padres just hired a new manager, Craig Stammen. You played with him. I think it shocked a lot of people in the baseball world. Relief pitcher, had been
Mhm.
working for the org for a few years, but can you tell us a little bit about Craig and how you feel his personality will play driving the ship?
Yeah, well, first of all, I was shocked, man. I definitely was, just because Craig, I know he was a special assistant there, but like Craig is first of all top 3, 5, 2, like best teammate of all time, man. Like best, just a great dude. I'm not sure if you've ever ran across him out in the bullpens there before the game, but I mean the type of dude that like he's the guy that you could understand, you can feel that like he was going to be a manager or like a CEO or that kind of presence, right? Like just walking around in the clubhouse. And like in San Diego, man, like we had some heated moments, on the field, off the field, in the locker room with everybody, GM, front office, manager. And the one thing I always admired about Craig was like he kept his cool and he was real. Like he was saying exactly what he said in these closed door meetings with the team owner, with 3, 2, 1 player versus all 26 guys. Um, the reason I was shocked was because he's such a family man, and I felt like he wanted to be at home. His kids are all young. So that's where I was like, man, I didn't see this coming at all. But like watching his press conference, watching all of his interviews, I'm like, man, Craig's going to crush this, man. I really think he's going to be good at this because Craig has a unique mix. And I saw this from Chris Young, Ben Zobrist, of turning it on and off. Like off the field, they're just the nicest people you will ever see. Great dudes, great family men, like whatever, like soft spoken. And then on the field, like they have this ability to turn on the switch and be so ultra competitive. And you see this fire in them that you're like, man, like I did not see this at dinner last night when I was with you and your family, but I love this. And like it's firing me up. So I think Craig's going to be good, man. I think Craig, having the experience of being teammates with Tatis and Manny, I think they have the respect from Craig. He's going to be able to have conversations with those guys. I think now when you look at it long term, when Manny and Tatis, they're not there yet, but when they get kind of towards the back nine of their career and it's like, hey, we need to get you off your feet a little more, he can have those conversations with them. Um,
You,
but the biggest thing, man, is just like it's gonna be an adjustment in San Diego this year because they're just not going to be able to spend the type of money they've been able to spend in years past. So I think he's going to have the hardest thing for Craig to control is going to be the outside noise of if they trade guys, let guys go, and they just don't go out offering 300, $400 million contracts like they've been the last couple of years.
yeah, obviously the Peter Seidler era was a little bit different in San Diego, and now there's talks of them potentially selling the team. The family maybe selling the team. Do you have any insight on that? Because to me it felt like San Diego is one of the smaller markets in the big leagues,
Mhm.
and he went all out trying to create something special there. Obviously, bringing you
Sure
in,
did.
bringing Manny in, extending Tatis, trading for Soto, like all those things are under his watch. The crowd's coming back. I mean, shit. When we used to first play you guys in San Diego, probably a little bit before you were there. I mean, there was nobody there. Rockies, Padres at Petco was a pretty quiet experience, and
Mhm.
now it's a zoo every day. So I'm wondering whether it's more of like the rest of the family isn't quite as passionate, or whether this is like an opportunity to cash in on what they built. Any thoughts on that?
Man, I don't know. Well, first and foremost, it kills me for Peter. Obviously, he's passed away because Peter, like you said, man, like he took it amongst himself. The Chargers left San Diego and went to LA, and there was no soccer then. So like it was the only sports team in town. And he like made it took it amongst himself to be like, I'm going to make this like a next level experience for these fans. And he sure did. Like he spent the money, the in-game experience at Petco Park. You can speak on that, was unbelievable. And he really understood, the downtown San Diego demographic. It was a younger crowd, and he would always have stuff in that park behind center field. So like he did a great job. I don't know what the family's plan is. I don't know if they're just trying to, if they're not as into it as Peter was, and they're just trying to cash in on the investment or whatnot. I don't know if you know any of these big time hedge fund guys out here in the Northeast, because I would love to buy that team and be a part of that situation. Because, man, like Petco Park became one of the coolest environments in all of baseball. And I got to see it firsthand. Like you said, I signed there in 18 and 19. It was like an away team's destination. Like if you're on the Mets, the New York fans are coming for vacation, and you're going to see blue and orange in the stands, and that's it. So from 20, we had COVID year, which was obviously nobody in the stands, but that's when we started to have a little bit of success as a team. Then 21, it's like, all right, 30% capacity, half capacity. So to see it slowly build up, and then once it was full capacity, I mean, with the exception of a Tuesday night in a non-summer game, it was sold out, it was packed, and the energy there was unbelievable. So to see that transition was awesome. But man, I just hope they can keep that energy now with the less spending, because it's just a different dynamic, man. I think, Preller, that GM, he's not going to have the ability to go offer Aaron Judge $400 million, him say no, go offer Trey Turner $400 million, him say no, and just gives Xander Bogaerts 280. You know what I mean? Like you're going to have to be a little more creative now.
Yeah, that was crazy. I hate to say it because I had no idea at the time, but I was like, man, how is he doing this? Like, is something going wrong? Because it felt a lot like Illich in Detroit those last years before he passed away and let go of his control of the team to his sons, where it was like, I really want to see a winner and I'm going to go for it right now. And then of course the news comes out and I'm like, oh my god, I feel bad about being right about that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's awful. Like I'm so
Yeah.
sad that a true baseball fan, somebody who really wanted to bring success to an area, wasn't able to see it through quite the way that he hoped to. So it's a little bit of
No,
a bummer.
man, you're right. You're right, dude. And he did, like he definitely went all in on those years. And then, you mix him in that collaboration with Preller, and Preller, obviously I'm not the biggest fan of Preller. We've had our back and forths and all that stuff. But the one thing I will say about AJ is he will find you the best amateur talent there is. Like he's gonna live all off season in Dominican. He knows those kids left and right. He knows the international game. He knows the amateur game. So you mix that with having the ability to spend whatever type of money you want to spend. I mean, that's why we're seeing every trade deadline, they're going to be able to group up 2 to 3 prospects and get somebody back. And then in the offseason, they're able to spend the money, or at least they were those 2 years, because that collaboration between Peter and AJ, it was a fun one, an entertaining one for fans of baseball, that's for sure. And I know the San Diego fans loved it.
Yeah, I loved it, and I thought it just made that NOS so freaking interesting. I mean, you always have the Dodgers and the Giants, of course, who are the big boys, but Diamondbacks is a very desirable place for a lot of ball players since they all live in that region,
Mhm.
and then obviously San Diego, you get them going. Now you got four like real problems there, and then obviously the Rockies. When they're in their winning cycle, they're in their winning cycle. That seems to happen every 10 years or so. But
NL
um,
West was no joke there for 3, 4 years, man.
dude, the NL West. I mean. First, we had the Giants when I was there with the Rockies. And to your
Mhm.
point, they were a very scrappy team. It was like if you kept nobody on base, everything was fine. They got one guy on base, a rally was coming.
Yeah.
And then the
You just
Dodgers,
felt
I
it.
mean, Dodgers probably scored 50% of the runs I gave up for like a 3-year period, which was
Dodgers.
tough.
That's the one thing I learned first day or first week of spring training, my first year in San Diego. It was like everything was smooth, everything was going good, practice is smooth, and then we start games, it's good. And then boom, a week into games, we're facing the Dodgers, and it's like, wait, we got 5 meetings today, and like you're acting a little different, you're acting a little different. Like the Dodgers, man, they really did have they have mental, like they had the mental ownership of everybody in that division when I
Oh,
first
I
got
used to make I used to make the terrible joke that the Rockies season never really started until we got swept by the Dodgers.
there.
So
Oh
that was
man,
that
I
was
get it.
just the truth of it, man. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would go my first 2 years in San Diego, and we had my first year before I got to San Diego, so, like, this is telling you we're rebuilding. We had 3 full Rule 5 draft picks on the team. Like it's crazy to have one guy on the team out of the Rule 5 last the whole year. We had three. So we would go into LA in September and we'd be facing like Kershaw, Scherzer, Walker Bueller. And we got like just three young guys that aren't ready yet, that should be in double A. They're going to be great, but they just should be in double A right now. And I'm like, I'm on the bus. Like it's a great series if we don't get swept here, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a realistic view of that.
Yeah, it's it's a funny place to be, but great place to play baseball. So I always get excited about it every time. But man, big time challenge, big time challenge. And before the 40-man, before they lowered September down to 26-man, and it used to be
Mm-hmm.
40, the
Right.
Dodgers' depth was insane. Like they had a whole like all-star bench squad. Like I'd come in the game hoping to get some righties, and I'd get like Jock Peterson, Yasmani Grandal, Corey Seager, Chase Utley all in a row off the bench, and I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. And it's like one of those box scores you pulled up from winter ball, man. You got 9 pitchers coming in. You can face like we got 3 lefties for each lefty that comes up in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. And it's just, yep, they're loaded, man.
Yeah, it was different. All right, I'm gonna get you out of here in a minute. I have some random stuff pulled up here. The first is this ridiculous broken bat. Do you remember this?
I did, dude. The bat just snapped, and I'm pretty sure that I went up there with a broken bat before. And reason being is because those machines we were talking about. I think I had one of those machines cranked up. I don't know who we were facing, but I probably had it on like a slider cutter kind of coming into me. And I'm pretty sure the bat was broken then. That's one of those big puck knobs, too.
Oh, so broken before you went up to the plate, probably.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think before the game, day game, I'm hitting off the machine in the cage. So I'm thinking I broke it before then. But that was like right when I had my or that was when Casey was pregnant. Actually, I was like, I guess I'm tapping into this dad strength now.
Yeah, no, that's just a fascinating. It's a fascinating video because you can see how your swing. You're trying to maintain like the bottom hand, like staying through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even though you're broken, you can like kind of see the components of what you're trying to do here.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. I
And it's
find it
like,
funny.
oh man, what just happened?
Yeah. All right. I think that's kind of it. We could watch you get a hit off me. Let's see if that'll pop up.
What website you working right now?
I have an MLB research tool that they gave me to mess around with. Oh, that's me playing awful defense.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I feel like okay, so I feel like I don't know, I could be wrong here, and you might be able to look this up. So I was a big, like you said, I would go up there the first couple at bats and just standard, like, can I see this guy? Am I picking it up? Am I not picking it up? Whatever. And then if I can't pick it up, I got to revert to something. And obviously, facing you, like your slider did something different. It felt like every single time. And I felt like then there was maybe like a 0-1 tendency of a high percentage of heaters because 0-1, I felt like right there, I was probably swinging no matter what as soon as the ball was coming out of your hand because there's just no chance of me hitting your slider.
Yeah, at that time, I was trying to go backdoor sliders early, and then like to keep you honest from diving, I would try to like front door the two seam, kind of like up and in over and over
Mhm.
again. And that
Gotcha.
year, those 2 years, 18, 19, were probably my best 2 years of doing that. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that I tell people this in the chat all the time. They always ask me, why do you always talk about guys hunting certain pitches? And I'm like, well, because the current state of pitching is that, of course, you'd love to go up there and see the ball hit the ball. Like, that's the best approach. But there are certain pitchers that force you to meet their level on one pitch or another. And that starts
Mhm.
to change things, whether it's an elite fastball, whether it's an elite breaking ball. Am I right in that? Am I right in that feeling that
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like once the pitcher forces you to meet their level on something, that's when the chase starts to begin?
Absolutely, and especially for a reliever, like, if you're coming out of the bullpen, I know what you're coming out to throw. So, like, there's a lot of times, man, where, like, a Matt Thornton, if I'm facing that guy again in my career, like, I just know one pitch, I'm not picking it up well, right? So, I'm just gonna go up there and say, "You know what, dude? If I can't see this guy's heater and I need to get sped up a little bit, I'm sitting breaking ball for all 3 pitches, and I don't care if it's a 0-0 count or 0-2 count. I'm just waiting for that one breaking ball, kind of hoping that out of these 3, 4 pitches you throw me, I'm going to get that one pitch there and I can't miss it if I get it."
Yeah, totally. I mean, I just it's like I people would ask me like what type of right-handed hitters gave me the biggest trouble, and it was usually guys that weren't thinking at all. Like a Starlin
Mhm.
Castro, for example, just like I'm just going to see you and swing. A lot of times I'm trying to like trick you a little bit, and he's just like, I'm just here hitting, so you're not tricking
Yeah.
anybody, like, you know.
It's like Texas Hold'em poker. I don't know if you're a poker guy much, but it's like, dude, why are you calling that raise? There's no chance you should be in this hand. That's kind of what it's like. It's like facing an amateur poker player that just calls everything or is trying to bluff or just doesn't know what they're doing. You're like, bro, like, there's no reason you should be swinging at this pitch. I just went hard 98-mile-an-hour two-seamer on your hands. Like, you should not be looking for this next pitch, whatever it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm with you.
Yeah, your approach sucks, and that's why it works.
That's like with Will Myers, man. I love Will Myers to death. And we used to, when he was young in Kansas City, Will just wouldn't think he would go up there, rub some dirt in his hands, and then boom. And then when I got to San Diego, he was like, oh, like Ottavino's got 1% changeups. And I know I'm that 1%. I know I'm that 1%. And I'm like, Will, just go back to being dumb, dude, and stop thinking. It works so much better. So funny, man.
1% is too low to be looking for. I'll tell you that.
He's like, I'm the outlier. It's me. I know it. I know it's me.
I actually
It's
think
funny too how you get older, how you start pitching or you start like playing against the report.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. No, it's funny though. Will Myers. I think I struck him out like 4 or 5 times on fastballs looking in one season because he just was like so keyed in on the slider. But I think that's a big part of like scouting that doesn't get talked about is more scouting the person you're facing. Like you have to ask yourself, will this guy deviate or is he just going to stay with his normal approach over and over again? So I know like when I used to face catchers, like for example, smart catchers like a Buster Posey, I used to think to myself, well, this guy's smart. He's thinking he's going to play the game along with me, so I'm going to try to make the script really hard to read. But if I'm facing a guy who is on the other side of the spectrum where I'm like, maybe just stay stubborn with this guy, stick with the slider, whatever. But that's something that I never hear anybody talking about, but I feel like that's real.
Dude, so real. I remember being a young hitter in St. Louis my first 2 years, and I'm facing like Michael Wacha as a rookie with Yadier Molina catching. And I'm up there and I see Michael Wacha shaking, and I'm like, wait, there's no way in hell this guy's shaking Yadier Molina. Like, this is probably just one of those shake fastballs. And boom, sure enough, I was like, yes, I thought right on one of those. And it was little cues like that. I remember facing Verlander. I got a double on his curveball. The next at bat, I'm like, oh, I can eliminate the curveball. He's coming heater. He threw me 3 curveballs in a row after that.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, this guy's next level. Like, he's just saying, that was a fluke. I'm better than you. Here's what I'm doing. So, yeah, man, you definitely learn the person. And you're like, all right, this is how this guy's kind of going about his business.
Yeah, totally. I think that's the next level. Because I used to talk about it like sometimes you could take the scouting, kind of throw it out. You just got to stare in the guy's soul a little bit and be like, what's he looking for here?
Yeah, dude, that's it. Just look him in the eyes and just be better than him at some point.
All right, a couple more questions from the chat, and then I'll let you go. Have you ever wanted to charge the mound on a hit by pitch?
Man, I tell you what, dude, I've always had respect for guys that did that because I've definitely gotten pissed a couple times, but it's never crossed my mind to charge it. I remember when Nolan charged against San Diego. That was, I know we were all there. That was against Perdomo, but no, man, it never got to a point where I was close to being like, hey, if he throws at me, boys, I'm going to get him.
Yeah, like I never hit anybody on purpose in my career, but I always sort of bucket list wanted somebody to come out there. Not that I thought I could do anything, but just to say it happened, right? But of course, you don't want like Yasiel Puig to charge him out. Like that would have been scary. But
yeah, it's matchup problems. You gotta know what's going on there, right?
Yeah.
The one in San Diego, Colorado, it was who's the reliever? Good dude too, man, because he felt terrible about it. Reliever, righty, he hit Manuel Margot in the ribs.
Was it Oberg? Scott Oberg. Yeah. He hit him hard, like really hard.
Yeah, he was like spitting up blood, broke his ribs, like clearly was not on purpose. And then I think 2 other guys got hit. So
it was going down.
Yeah, and it was like we got to the last game Sunday. We had AJ Ellis, and he's like, "All right, guys, like they need to understand, like they can't throw in the inner half and just continue to miss and hit our guys without it being like, without it being a problem." And then Perdomo went at Nolan, and I give Nolan credit, man. Nolan said, "I'm going to get you, buddy."
I'll never forget it because I was inside doing my usual stuff, and I was with Wade Davis.
Oh yeah,
former teammate of yours. And as soon as we see Nolan run out there, at the time there was no delayed there was no delayed feeds, right?
Yeah.
We're like, oh shit, we got to get down there. So we come running out without our uniforms on, like shorts and t-shirts on, which I don't think is like okay. And then
You fine?
I just remember Nolan was so charged up and he was running so hard that he ran out of breath. And I remember he was trying to yell at Andy Green and Big Mac and Skip, but he
Yep.
couldn't get the words out. Like he was going like, uh,
No doubt. He chased him all the way to third, get the glove thrown at him.
also, I remember
Oh,
I had to hold back. I think it was like Buddy Ballman or somebody in this fight.
man.
And like he was, I don't know. We had a lot of it was this was hilarious to me. Ultimately,
Hilarious.
nothing really happened, but it was so funny.
Yeah, that's one of those. Once you get Nolan under control, like nothing else is going to happen from there.
Yeah, that was so good. That was next level
Oh
stuff.
man.
All right, let's watch your 5 furthest home runs, and then I'll get you out of here. Is that cool?
Ooh, a little dig me tape.
Yeah, a
I'm
little
down with
little
it.
dig me tape. All right, here's number one.
I hit Salazar good, man, my whole career. Oof.
Oh baby.
That's how you got to hit him to get him out of Kauffman Stadium, dude. That place is a freaking graveyard.
Ooh, that's a splash right there. That went all the way to the fountain.
Let's go,
That's
baby.
Bobby Witt territory right there.
What a player that guy is.
Yeah, he
We
is.
call that the old hydration station out there.
Oh, Josh Fields.
Postseason homer.
Ooh,
This was so
baby.
cool for me because I remember watching Josh Fields pitch for Georgia in the
Georgia.
College World Series.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this guy's the nastiest pitcher ever.
Dude, he was nasty. He got traded for Jordan
That's
Alvarez.
right.
Okay.
That's oh my gosh.
That's
That's
a crazy
crazy.
trade. Yeah.
Oh man. Dodgers, man.
Who's
Unbelievable.
this one off? It's Brad Peacock. Oh no, different Peacock.
Hmm.
Ooh, dead center on a changeup.
Oh. I hit some good ones in Arizona, dude.
It's a good place to hit. Ball flies nice glide to those gaps.
Yeah, man. You see the ball so good there. It's loud.
All right,
I love that place.
Who we got here? We got Josh Tomlin.
This is a foot down. Mother's Day foot down guy right here. Foot
Oh
down.
yeah, foot down.
Let's go. Just fouling off a bunch of pitches. And I'm like, dude, let me just see it. And boom.
You
Tomlin could pitch, though.
you used to have more of a bigger like your foot wasn't a huge leg kick, I didn't think, but you had more of a move early in the
Yeah.
count. Would you go foot down with certain players, or was it more so like just with two strikes?
More so like with two strikes or guys I couldn't see, or man, like the thing with the leg kick for a hitter, when it's going good, it is lights out. But when you're not, it's hard to balance, man. So just trying to get some balance. Oof,
This one's left center.
that's a nice one. I was going good then too. I think this is my free agent year. I was just crushing.
That was 17, right? 17 was your best year.
Yeah, 17 was my best year, man. I was pretty locked in for all of 17. It
Yeah,
was good.
I was looking at that actually a little bit just on your stats. I was curious because like I also had my best year in my free agent year, right? Like I also
Mhm.
and it wasn't that like I trained harder or anything. It was just like there
Yeah.
was some sort of edge there about I was a little more diligent probably of playing the game pitch to pitch that year and not getting in my own way. I don't know if you experienced anything similar to that in your career year.
Yeah, same thing, man. It's not like that off season. I wasn't like, all right, man, like it's spring or it's free agent year. Let's do something different. Maybe like instead of those days where it's just like I'm not gonna get a workout in or I'll just hit in the cage. Like maybe it was like, nope, I'm doing it. We're doing it. But I don't know, man. It was just like the body was feeling good, the swing was feeling good. There wasn't for a hitter, you have like those random times to where it's like, oh boy, like I lost it. I need to get that feel back. Like my swing, the mechanics are off. And that year, I just didn't really have many times where it felt like it was off.
Yeah, so you could just kind of stay status quo the whole way and ride it out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's nice to have. That's like what I always admire about guys with their foot down, man. And when I look at Otani, that's why I'm like, dude, this is gonna last forever because it's so easy to hit with your foot down. Everything's ready to just fire as you're reading the pitch, man. Like, I don't know. Once I started the leg kick, I felt like I could never really get the foot down approach going again. So I wish I would have just stuck with that my whole time.
It's interesting because like when I've been watching hitters on my stream during the season, the guys that have pull to pull power and don't have to create it, like they usually find a way to settle into a really efficient move. Like they don't do a whole lot. They just get the hands in position and they fire. And
Mhm.
ultimately that serves a bunch of purposes, right? Like you're a little bit more ready. You can see the ball a little deeper. You don't have to worry about getting out and around everything for your pop. So you don't
Yep.
have to cheat as much. Like those are big deals. And I feel like a lot of people go to the leg kick because they want to create a little more force. but that sets off a trade-off, right? You're creating a little more force, but now your timing has potential, at least, to be thrown off a little bit by certain pitchers. So I don't know.
Yep.
I felt like that's kind of the give and a take with the leg kick.
Yeah, well, as a hitter, you're trying to basically buy as much time as you can to read the pitch, see the pitch, and to generate more power. You obviously like want to generate more, so you got to get it going a little earlier, so you can't really see it as deep, and you can't, see it as long as you want to. And that's the thing with Judge, man. What people don't realize how good Judge is he not only is generating more power, but he's also like his fire at the ball is so much, it's accurate, way more accurate than your hands. Like, think about it. If I'm trying to take my hands to the ball every single time, I think I'm taking my hands to the ball, but maybe I don't get them to where I want to get them for that one pitch. Because Aaron Judge is firing from that back hip and his hands don't move, it's just like kind of snapping the barrel. It's like giving the barrel momentum. His accuracy is so much more on point too. He's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've often wondered that too. Is it more about being quick to the ball? Is that more important, or swinging fast? Like, obviously, you want to do a combination of both, but if I had to guess, I would say being quicker from launch to the ball is probably a little bit more important. But that's
Oh
just from
man.
my perspective.
So right. You want to be quick. Like you want to swing quick, not hard. So with Judge, with the barrel, like I'm sure, a lot of people in this chat know about the hitting on Twitter, his barrel going rearward and like him not pushing his hands. Because think about it, you're pushing your hands this way, you've already lost this much barrel depth or this much time and space to see the ball. So him creating the barrel to go this way is now he's getting way back here and he's like time and hitting like this much space and that much time allows him to like make better decisions and fire off his swing so much more precise than anybody else because it's like JD Martinez said, you're trying to basically give yourself the biggest margin of error to find the barrel. And when you look at Judge, man, versus the hands going this way to turning, that barrel is all up in that zone for a long time, dude.
Yeah, it turns. You're able to kind of lag it back too and still connect if you're late and send it to right.
Yes, dude, exactly. And then think about it. He can keep going. And then all of a sudden, if he wants to stop his swing, his whole body is in sync. So he just shuts down his body. With your hands, if I'm going there, I can't shut down my swing, man, because my body is not supporting my hands pushing forward. So he really has found a new style of hitting, man. And it is what I love about him too. And what I love about like the nerd in me in baseball, like guys like him and Devers, they go one off season and it's like, yeah, they can't hit the fastball up. They're vulnerable, whatever. He's hitting 150 this year on fastballs up, doesn't slug. The next year they come and they're hitting 400 on that pitch. So like they've made the counter adjustment. That's how good these guys are,
Yeah, no, it's that's the name of the game. Being getting a little bit better every single year, closing down your gaps.
Mhm.
When I first started facing Judge, you could mess with his timing a little bit, but now it's crazy because you would think you're trying to get him into a forward back, like I'm trying to show you 94 and then 78. But when the move is so subtle and you don't have to rush for anything, it's hard to get him way out front. So it's such a hitter advantage there.
So true, man. You can't get a
100%.
read on him.
One more question from the chat. Did Boris ever have any fun Hosmer puns? Have
Uh,
you seen his puns for free agency that he had yesterday with the Brexit for Bregman and all the P's for Polar Pete?
oh man, the dad jokes. I guess now with kids, I'm starting to appreciate those dad jokes a little more. So when I signed with San Diego, that was when like Tatis and Urias and all those young guys were all prospects, Mackenzie Gore, like Morihone, all of them. So he said that like San Diego was a hot talent lava of prospects. And like I was the one that was going to make it erupt, or I don't even know what the hell it was, dude. But I guess it worked. He tricked them into signing me for 8 years. So shout out to Scott. You didn't have Scott, did you?
No, I didn't have Scott, but we got a kick out of it. The last 2 years, like just when he holds court and he gives his little his puns that he obviously has a bunch of people working on through the off season. I just find it so funny and so unique. So I don't know.
Oh man, he's definitely typing in Chat GPT, like, give me the best 10 polar bear references you can give me, or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been great. This has been fun. We got to go take a little tour of your career, talk a little current events as well. So I really appreciate you joining us today. This was awesome.
Love it, man. Anytime, dude. And I got I'm subscribed to the page now, and then let me know about this merch, man. I want to get one of those beanies, and I'm gonna show some support this time.
All right, I got you. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks so much.
All right, man. Take care, Adam. Have a good one, buddy.
All right, great. I'll get you off here in a moment, and we will continue the show from over here. That was Eric Hosmer. He was great. Big thanks to Eric for joining us. That was really fun. I don't know. That was really great. He gave us an insight into so many things. He had such a unique career. I had a bit of information that I didn't tell him, but it was from Cobra in my Discord. Eric is the only player ever to do all of these: win a World Series, win a WBC for the U.S., be on the All WBC team, win a Gold Glove, a Silver Slugger, and be an All-Star. So he's the only player with all of those accolades. Now, granted, that's a little bit of a modern thing. Because the WBC's only existed for about 4 or 5 iterations. So obviously the players that came before that time frame couldn't possibly achieve all of those at the same time. But pretty cool because he had a one of a kind career. Once again, that's win a WBC, win a World Series, be all WBC team, get a Gold Glove, a Silver Slugger, and an All-Star. So very, very cool. Very, very cool there. And great to get his insight. You know, we don't get to... I tell you what I see from hitters, but that's mostly from a pitching perspective. It's a little different to hear it from a hitter, so that was really fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed that.